Nick Riewoldt with us.
Morning,
gang.
gang.
Nick. Look at him.
Morning.
Stunning.
Yeah.
It's like Zoolander when you walked in this morning. Yes, you blue
Exactly.
steel.
Yeah, no, that was Magnum.
Yeah, that was Magnum.
That was Magnum.
That was Magnum. So much to talk about. I guess we start with Leon Cameron at GWS, and the conversation moves on quickly now to who will replace him. I think he may be leaving because he's just exhausted.
Well, I think that's real. So you look at his actual record, and he's won a final in 5 out of 10 years that he's been at the helm. And we know early on they were, in a real growth phase. So Leon did a great job with that group. There was a time early when I think the entire competition was packing it because we thought we have armed the Giants with
so many
an
picks.
unstoppable amount of talent.
Yes.
And they're going to win 7 of the next 10 premierships. That's sort of what it looked like early on. But as we know, they're incredibly hard to win. And Leon got the group to a grand final. 2016 was probably the one where they lost to the Bulldogs, where they would have been the favourites to take it out, and they didn't. But they're hard to win. I know that as well as anyone. Jeez. So he did a great job. But you get to 10 years, and
he seems burnt out, doesn't he?
It seems like that's a bit of the lifespan for coaches. Buck's got to about 10 years. Clarko had a really long time at Hawthorn, and you're right. Quickly, the attention turns to who's next because
Clarko's name always comes up.
Well, timing. Marty, is everything in footy. And we were very, very fortunate to have booked Clarko in about a week ago to appear on AFL 360 last night.
Yes.
So
you could ask him directly.
Half expected the phone to just ring during the day, and Clarko might have come down with COVID or who knows. He might have had any excuse. But he fronted up last night, which was brilliant because we got to ask him directly about his passion for the game and is the fire still burning. And it took a few questions and a few follow-ups and deflect here, deflect there. And then he got to the crux, and he has the fire.
Yeah.
That fire still burns within him. And if he comes back to coaching, when he comes back to coaching, it'll be to win one.
Because
that is his. It's not about setting it up for someone else. It's not about money. It's about winning another flag.
Like
and
the Paul Roos sort of
that's
blueprint.
it. So the Paul Roos handing over to Simon Goodwin. No, he wants to come back and he wants to win another premiership. When he got rolling and started talking about it last night, I was sitting next to him. I could feel motivation just in the air,
oozing out of him.
It was amazing, and
because he was brief, he was touted as possibly going to Tassie if Tassie takes place, and I know that last night was it?
Yep.
You've been quite actively involved in the attempt to get a team down in Tassie, and there was a launch of an ad last night.
There was, and Clarko is on the task force as well. So Clarko spent time over in Green Bay, actually learning about their model, a small market, a big team in a small market, and how that works and how we could apply lessons from there to
Green
a
Bay
Tasmanian
in the
team.
US,
Green Bay
in the
in
NFL,
Wisconsin, in the Green Bay Packers. But Clarko's a part of that task force, and last night we were able to air an ad that will form part of the final push campaign, which will launch tomorrow. Do we have any of that?
Yeah, I've got it here. Here it is.
This is going to take every ounce of spirit we can muster for this one final push. The last in our lifetime, perhaps the last ever. The time for dreaming is done. The time has come. Join the last push to play on. Believe Tasmanian.
Boom!
Oh,
Wow.
that's good.
It's got a Clancy of the
That's
overflow
good.
field,
and,
doesn't it?
and the vision, we're obviously on radio, you can't see, but the vision is of all the iconic Tassie footy
Football.
venues. So
Venues. I thought you were going to say past
venues-
players.
No, not past players, but venues. And there's a girl and she's running through with a footy through all these venues. It talks about the gravel rash grit, and they've got a pic that she's running across the Queenstown football oval, which is gravel.
Well, that's the moonscape town there,
that's
isn't
right.
it?
That's
From
the
the
playing
mining.
surface is gravel, and then she gets to the Bass Strait and she kicks the footy over towards the mainland. It's a
Oh,
really
wow. It's like
great.
a torpedo over the torrent.
That's it. That's it. So it's
Adelaide.
a really emotive piece, but a really critical piece for all Tasmanians to jump on this final push to make sure it happens.
And just before we get to the round and take a quick break, mid-season trading of draft picks has popped up this week. What do you think about that?
I don't mind it. I think we get to this point in the season, and for a lot of clubs, the season's over. And for a number of other clubs, it's an opportunity to bring in a little bit more capital to try and tip you over the edge. I mean, as a fan of the game, I think it would generate a huge amount of interest, particularly through the middle months of the season when sometimes it can get.
It could give you a bit of hope.
Yeah, that's right. It can provide hope. It can provide, some really valuable pieces for sides that are right on the bubble and think, oh, do we go all in here or do we not? I think the chess that would unfold between the clubs would be fascinating to watch.
Nick Riewoldt with us this morning, mate.
Absolutely. Nick is busy as always and looking forward to another round of wonderful football. What has caught your eye?
Tonight
will be massive.
Tonight will be big. Almost last chance saloon for the doggies.
Yeah.
They've
had
been
a funny
smashed.
year, haven't they?
They've been smashed with injuries and just things haven't gone well for them. And it's amazing how quickly it can happen. 19 points up halfway through the third term in the grand final. And you think they're about to win it. And then you come out.
Petrarca just went berserk.
And then you come out this year and you just can't seem to fire a shot or get any sort of continuity going. The Pies play a style that will test most teams if you're not on. And if the Dogs aren't on, I mean, they're a bit midfield or bust, it feels like at the moment.
It's equally important for Collingwood tonight.
It is, but they're on different paths.
Yeah,
and
you feel like one's coming down and one's going up.
And the expectation sort of plays a lot into that one. So that'll be a great watch. St Kilda Geelong's probably the second.
You brushed
pick.
over North and Port.
Well, we'll get back to that. I'm just going through what have I done here? I'm just going through sort of in order of
St Kilda Geelong tomorrow. Where's that at?
Relevance.
Is that
that's at Marvel. But both of these...
That'll be a good game.
It will. And both of these sides started the year really well. And you're sitting 5-2 and you think things are rolling along. The loser tomorrow goes to 5-4. And all of a sudden...
Very different.
You just... we're back in the pack. And so this great start that we had to the season, we haven't been able to capitalise on. I'm still confident in the direction of both teams regardless of the result. But it just... The loser tomorrow will start to feel a little bit of the pressure. So the Saints wouldn't want to drop 3 in a row. Your boys?
Good.
Yeah. North? Yeah.
Going well.
That's it.
Hawthorn Richmond?
That's okay. That was quick. They've got a few out. They got a few outs, North. It's been a fascinating...
North's having a... I don't know if you heard Jared Waitley interview Jack Zeeble. It was a really good chat. It was a long chat. It was a 14-minute chat, and it was a good chat. And it was Jack just saying, Noble's allowed to give the players a spray. They deserved a spray, and it worked because they almost beat Sydney the next week.
Yep.
And internally, like all football clubs, they're tracking well.
Yeah.
Internally.
Yeah.
All outside noise, which is all of us.
Yep.
They're not worried about it.
Jack Zeeble said what he needed to say as captain of the club.
Yes.
So he needed to toe the company line. Internally, though, there was clearly an issue because David Noble felt the need to apologise. So it's one thing for the captain to say, hey, we deserved a spray, but somewhere along the line, there were some disgruntled players.
I think a few of them were genuinely upset.
Yeah.
And I have heard that there were tears shed, which makes me slightly nervous.
I've heard that too. It's a generational thing. Like you and I, Marty, we could wear a spray. And,
I love a spray.
Will maybe,
No, I'm a crier.
Yeah.
Oh, we're all cries. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, nothing wrong with that. But
Nothing
what
wrong with
about
that.
like direct feedback?
Yeah, no good.
360 feedback.
No confrontation.
But it doesn't have to be confrontation. That's the thing.
No.
It can just be feedback. But some of these kids aren't taking any sort of form of feedback at all.
I feel like Will just sort of didn't take that line of questioning all that well.
I'll hear about that. I'll hear about that for weeks.
I might need to go full David Noble and apologise to you later.
He'll be like,
Do you think it's when it crosses like a personal line? Is there a line that you think a spray can cross?
Of course. And I was on the end of some pretty good ones. Grant Thomas and Ross Lyon. Ross Lyon didn't miss anyone.
Yeah. Except himself.
No, Ross Lyon would... And this is what the players loved about Rossi is he had an amazing ability to challenge really strongly without ever souring the group up because there were times when he would come in and he would put his hand up and say, you know what, boys, I didn't prepare you well enough this week.
Oh, that's good.
That's on me.
Yeah.
And we were like, Rossi, what are you talking about? That was on us. We didn't go out. No, it was on me this week, boys. So when the coach puts himself in it with the players, that's when you love the coach.
The modern coach, though, just to talk about that, must be paranoid now about losing the change room because the change room seems to decide the coach's tenure.
Well, it's shifted that way, hasn't it? I mean, you look at the Australian cricket team as a
classic example,
great example of the players almost setting the agenda.
And
so
a great example from the captain in Cummings to just back him, talk about everyone being okay, and then bang, pops it in the neck.
Yeah, so that's that whole public line thing.
Okay, Hawthorn Richmond.
Beware your subordinates, Marty.
Yeah.
There's a good lesson in there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, mate. Or, number 2 is always your issue, Lauren.
Hey. Are you talking about Carlton?
She hasn't heard a word of that chat.
She totally tuned out.
She has not heard a word
I do
of
all my
that.
preparation. I come in here with all my hard-hitting footy stuff, and Lauren just uses it as an opportunity for a 10-minute mental break.
It's been on Insta.
She's like, are you talking about Carlton? No, not a mention of them.
Couldn't be further from.
I mean, and that was...
No, I meant as number 2.
No, I know what you meant, and the answer's still no.
You're drawing a long bow there.
I only tuned out for about 5 seconds.
That's all it takes.
ya?
That's all it takes.
sorry.
Hawthorn Richmond will be a good one too.
Yeah, that'll be a beauty. The Tigers have got the band back together,
Yes.
which makes them dangerous. So they sort of haven't had their full complement over the last 18 months.
Actually, there was a bit of criticism around you, if I may,
Around me?
and the Dusty Martin sort of trying to get Dusty to talk after the game last week. How's that panning out for you? Because I know that became, well, we talked about it as well.
Right.
Not necessarily your involvement in it, but the idea that if Dusty says he doesn't want to talk to the media, his father's passed away, he's going through a rough time, is it then ever okay to sort of doorstop him?
Yeah, and that it wasn't a doorstop. So I went down to the rooms after the game to see if he was happy to have a conversation. Because we've got a pretty good relationship.
You know him personally.
And know him personally, and the answer was no, and that was fine. I think where it becomes a bit of a topic for conversation at the moment is the TV rights are up.
Yeah.
And so people want to draw the conclusion that, well, the players are going to want more for the TV rights.
They've got to give more.
They've got to give more. And so Dusty almost became a bit of a poster boy for the media and the players and the relationship and what's acceptable and how do you walk that fine line. Clearly extenuating circumstances with Dusty.
Absolutely.
But
Probably not the best example of what the whole point is.
That's right. But at the core of it all, it was just bloody great to see him out there.
Yeah, exactly. But it also, likewise, we can't just always talk to Paddy Dangerfield. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
And the clubs will just bat up their best guy. But sometimes you want to work around the fringe. You want to
sometimes
meet someone new.
You want to hear the different stories. We had Stephen May on the couch on Monday night, who I haven't heard a lot from in the media. He was brilliant.
Yeah, great.
So you talk about media training and all this sort of stuff. Like he would have been prepped. He just came on and spoke about what he wanted to speak about.
And how much media training goes on at the Modern Club? What does it look like? Is it just
what does it look like?
Is it sitting in a room going, and then they might ask you this?
Yeah, it is. And if they ask you this, say this. The best form of media training is to keep the guys away from the microphone that actually probably can't handle it.
Yeah.
So you handpick the players at the clubs who are going to pretty much say as little as possible. That's generally what happens. And when you're on the inside, that's great. But when you're on the outside, like all of us now, you want the personalities and you want the colour and all of that sort of stuff. And you can tell pretty much within 5 seconds when you get a player on after a game and you ask them the first question. The first 5 seconds, you're either going, "Oh, this is going to be good,"
This will be great.
Gosh,
No.
wrap it up.
Yeah,
Wrap it up. A couple of questions. Let's
Told
move
us
him on.
He's
He's
just one of many in the team.
it was a good team effort.
Yeah.
And can't wait for next week.
The worst when we were not even that long ago, was the Australian cricket team. They were terrible, trying to get any of them.
Right.
Through that real glory period, it was just impossible to get the Australian cricket team to come and talk. And that's when that shift in the public's perception of the Australian cricket team started to take place as well. Became very elite. It was like, oh, these guys just won't do anything for the media. Then, of
Which
course,
I
we
get.
had South Africa,
Yep.
and they came crawling back to the media trying to change the narrative around the elitism within the group.
Rebuild the brand. Yeah, which I get because I was exactly the same when I was a player. It was a real us against them sort of mentality, which is
Because there's a lot of guys taking pot shots.
yeah, which you understand as well when you get to the other side. I wish I knew then what I know now
Yeah.
about how you can work together and coexist.
Yeah, that's right. Good on you, Nick. Have a
Cheers,
lovely
guys.
weekend, mate.
Chat to you next week.